A research and policy informed discussion focus on cross-curricular issues within science and maths. So what is cross-curricular teaching? The pros of cross-curricular teaching in the primary curriculum have been an issue of debate for a significant time, the main dispute being the favouring of cross-curricular forms of teaching over discrete methods, while by definition, cross-curricular teaching is focused on children's freedom to create their own learning through integrated teaching of more than one subject through a common theme. Barnes in 2011 explains that cross-curricular teaching is essentially when the skills, knowledge and attitude of a number of different disciplines are applied to a single experience or idea, whereas discrete approach involves teaching subjects separately with the teacher directing the exploration of the children's learning. Overall, cross-curricular teaching is viewed to have a positive impact on primary teaching. Ofsted in 2010 have said that teachers felt confident in encouraging pupils to make connections across traditional boundaries and had a positive impact on pupils' personal development and life beyond school. Barnes also explains that cross-curricular methods can be effective in teaching and reaching ethical solutions, building individual and group motivation, as well as sustaining interest. Maths and science are two subjects that have been known to complement each other well in cross-curricular teaching. Measuring and data handling are two topics within maths that have been used to complement science. Carey and Captain suggested that the knowledge of science and maths can be taught together provided that the related objectives are identified. This is seen where maths and science objectives from each subject are merged together and activities planned based on these. For example, if the objectives of maths are on measurement and science objectives are on plant life, the children can plant seeds, observe them germinate, then measure the plant growth. Here, children can link concepts in both subjects by using mathematical concepts and applying them to a science topic. However, not all of these topics can be done in this way. This may be because basic maths and science concepts and methods may first need to be taught independently or through a discrete approach. Moreover, activities may only touch at surface level, and for older children, this may not be sufficient as more in-depth knowledge may be needed to fill in the gaps. Sachs in 2012 illustrates that experiments recording collecting data are the most widespread ways that teachers can link maths and science. For example, if the children are recently learning about food chains, they can identify a problem in a decline of bugs in an area and make a hypothesis based on this, then collect the data and interpret it graphically. Therefore, children's inquiry and problem-solving skills can be applied here to link the common learning between science and maths. The great advantage of this is that many skills can be cross-linked, such as measurement, statistics, probability, patterns, and reasoning, though in order for this to work well, experiments need to be planned appropriately, or children may not gain the full benefit of the skills and concepts learnt. Another example is when children are involved in construction or play, where they are learning about estimation, measurement, and shape using problem-solving skills. Thus, in succession, children build their own learning experience through maths and science concepts through a growing process of activity. However, this needs to be nurtured through cross-curricular linking as the child gets older to meet the diversity in children's development. It should also be noted that teaching is not a literal science, so no method will suit all teachers or all children. Ultimately, teachers need to rely on their own judgment to respond to the needs of the children rather than just follow any teaching approach without due consideration. Despite the popularity of teaching in a cross-curricular fashion, there are some critics that worry that thorough knowledge will not be embedded in both subject areas equally. This is sometimes seen where the lesson is focused on a particular theme, because although some skills may be shared between topics, knowledge from the inferior subject may be lacking, whereas in discrete approach no subjects are inferior as they are both taught separately with distinction. Thus, discrete subject approach may be needed to salvage the knowledge which is weak or not covered in that area. Savage in 2011 also warns that if links were to be made between subjects, the objectives will need to be clear and the skills and the knowledge learnt from one framework may not necessarily transfer to another framework. This problem is often seen where teachers make too many links between subjects, causing them to lose their identity Instead, in my opinion, I would limit them to two to ensure connections made between subjects are preeminent, so the skills and notions of that subject are sufficiently addressed, preventing the learning progression from diminishing in that topic. A frequent concept that many researchers share is this notion that cross-curricular teaching develops children's motivation and engagement as learning is portrayed in a more appealing way compared to the discrete approach. Mudgis and Reynolds in 2011 show that when children worked in cross-curricular projects, the motivation came from learning to master a skill or problem solve. However, one can argue that it may not be possible for children to be motivated by the same subject. Instead, it is the span of study or the content of interactive engagement. Some critics also claim that cross-curricular teaching of maths and science may lack specific subject knowledge and encourage superficial learning. However, if this were the case, surely children will also lose motivation too, as they will not have the appropriate subject knowledge to apply to that subject and therefore cannot stay engaged or motivated. It is therefore possible that the emotional attitude of the brain plays the most significant role in the cognitive associative learning. Walsh in 2011 further explains that a second major supply of neurons grow in the brain between the ages of 8 to 14, however may diminish away if unused. Therefore, in my opinion, it may be more productive that children at this age are taught in a cross-curricular fashion, as this is the perfect age where mental development is at its optimum. Hence, children can encompass a wider breadth of knowledge and skills from a richer, more dynamic experience of topics, rather than just one. Many studies share the viewpoint that the usage of ICT in lessons is crucial for providing prospects for children to learn in technology communicating and advancing world. Campbell in 2010 explains research, analyzing and reporting skills in children can be cultured through cyber-enabled resources, such as open simulator applications. These can be used in science classrooms to create 3D spaces of terrain for simulating life cycles of plants or even changes in characteristic traits. Hayden in 2011 also explains that databases can be used as well resourcefully to encourage problem-solving skills through collecting, recording and managing data. Others include data logging and digital video recording, which allow children to experience new sources of data in a wider range of experimental setting. Therefore, the internet can be used both as a reference point at any given time and a source for conversing learning ideas, encouraging learning. A good example of this are e-learning tools such as Education City, where children can have the opportunity to be in charge of their own learning and work at their own pace. Teachers have found these greatly improve learners' retention due to the combination of multimedia instructional design and practical activities which children engage in. Furthermore, it takes up much less time to convey the same amount of instruction given in a classroom. E-learning tools also encourage exploration and testing of ideas, eradicating this fear of failing within children. Despite these advantages, Bingham-Luss in 2009 reported that teachers have a lack of confidence and support in integrating technology and therefore only use it when necessary. Also, using internet package programs for learning can sometimes seem complex for beginners, as they seem to skip pages or exercises and thus remain off task. Thus, such programs do not always provide the best setup for face-to-face communication and cannot therefore fully replace the communication and feedback of a teacher. Therefore, online learning tools and ICT should be used as a complement or extension of classroom learning, as even the best online learning tools cannot completely replace the personal contact a child gets with the teacher. However, full opportunities should still be given to children so that they have the choice to select learning materials that meet their level of knowledge and interest. In conclusion, research has shown that teaching of maths and science in a cross-curricular way have a significant impact on children's learning, as children can link the learning in practical skills and analytical skills between topics in a fun way, allowing them to cross developmental boundaries. However, it should be noted that not all maths and science topics can be taught efficiently in this way, and therefore discrete subject knowledge may be needed to fill in those gaps. As a result, children can appreciate both teaching strategies, whilst ensuring the learning of the children is at its best interest. Furthermore, proper professional teacher training programs and support from universities and professionals may be needed to ensure teachers have substantial subject knowledge to teach science and maths topics in a cross-curricular way.